Hey guys. Hey guys. You are listening to Yeah, I Said It. And y'all already know before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. To God be the glory for the things that he has done. Listen, we ain't in nobody's jail. We ain't in nobody's hospital. We have the activities of our limbs. And if you are in somebody's hospital and if you know somebody that's in somebody's jail, I am praying for their covering and their protection. If you are tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, as I say each and every week. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. This is Thankful Thursdays. Listen, I don't look like what I've been through, and neither do you. I'm super excited. What's going on, cuz? I'm super duper excited because God is so amazing, even in the midst of all of our sorrow. And even in the midst of all of our challenges and the rapid changes that are happening in our lives, one thing's for sure, two things for certain is how bad can it get? And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and we're going to be talking about how bad can it get? How bad can it get? You know, my son's father, when we were dating, he would often say, you know, expect the worst and hope for the best. And I would tell him, you know, you're so pessimistic. You know, you just don't look at the good of nothing. You know, have you ever met somebody you can tell them it's sunny outside and they be like, yeah, but it's hot. And you be like, but it's sunny, but it's hot. You could say, you know, ooh, this food was good, but yeah, mine tasted funny. You ever been around somebody that says, well, you know, I'm trying to lose weight. Well, you ain't gonna lose no weight. You ain't lose no weight before. And they're so negative. They're so negative. And I want to talk to you if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. We're talking about how bad can it get. You know, death does two things. Death can bring out the worst in you, or death can bring out the best in you. And oftentimes we don't really realize how much it affects us until they are no longer here with us. As they transition, this is a new scenery for a lot of us that we've never had to deal with, never saw before. And the crazy thing of it is that people are still not taking it serious. I unfortunately had to go and take care of some of my grandmother's business. My grandmother passed away, and it was sorrowful, and I had to kind of go on a sabbatical because sometimes you just need to take a break. Sometimes you just need to take a break from people, social media, your phone. You know, sometimes you just need to just detox from everything and everybody and just kind of have a woosah moment. Because when you don't have woosah moments, you end up woosahing somebody, okay? You end up chopping somebody up with your words, getting into altercations because you're not taking that time to relax your thoughts, you know? And because I'm not smoking weed, I can't relax my thoughts how I used to. So I had to get my thought process together, because when you don't take that time, even if it's, you know, while your kids are taking a nap, or while your husband is watching TV, or, you know, if that means go in the bathroom and turn the shower on, turn the sink on, and just sit and just not say nothing. Sometimes that is best, because a lot of us have a lot of stress on us. A lot of us are suicidal, depressed. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking all about how bad can it get? And death does two things. It either makes you better or it makes you worse. And just like Jesus' death, it brought out betrayal. Somebody that was not only related to him, but closest to him. And see, sometimes, you know, death can cause chaos amongst the family. Everybody want the couch set. Some people want the living room set. Some people trying to figure out, do your loved one got insurance? You know, or just the thought of even having to plan the demise of someone can be overwhelming. And as a grief coach and a transition coach, I often tell people, you take your time. Take your time. Because at the end of the day, our funeral homes, they need prayer. They're backed up. They are denying bodies. My grandmother, I've been calling around funeral homes, and thank God that we have a relationship with Clora Funeral Home, because there were funeral homes that are turning people away. There are cremation companies that are saying we can't cremate any more bodies. There is a hold, a 3 to 5 day hold for families to get their bodies. This is not just overwhelming for the healthcare workers. This is overwhelming for all parties involved. Most funeral homes only hold the capacity of maybe 5 to 6 funerals at a time. And so to have people who want burial services, people that want cremation services, it's overwhelming. I had a man that I talked to the other day, and I had to pray for him because he said he got 50 bodies in one day. 50 bodies in one day. And if you're tuning in, we're talking about how bad can it get. 50 bodies in one day. He said he had to close down his company for 2 days just to catch up. Now here it is, a business that specializes in the remains of our loved ones now being overwhelmed and overcapacitated with our loved ones. So it's a whole conglomerate of individuals that are having these challenges. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and we're talking about how bad can it get. And I never forget my son's father telling me, you gotta expect the worst and hope for the best. And in hoping for the best and expecting the worst can sometimes be hard because we want things to be better, right? And that's one of the reasons why it's so important. It's extremely important to choose your friends wisely. It's important for you to choose your circle wisely. Everybody that you call friend ain't your friend, because when death comes at your door, there's only a few people that will sit up here and cry with you, plan with you, walk you through that thing. Even sometimes your own relatives won't be as strong to delegate a funeral. When my father passed away, it was shocking. He had committed suicide the day after Thanksgiving. And my aunt and his wife kind of planned everything. And, I wrote my dad's obituary. I wrote my mom's obituary. And I wrote my brother's obituary and my aunt's. I'm a writer. I love words. And so in that moment, it let me know a few things. When you pass away, what are people going to say about you? Do you have someone that you can trust, a friend that's going to write your obituary or take care of your needs as they should? My grandmother was my mom's godmother. My real grandmother passed away. And so the next of kin would be me, because my aunt has gone on to glory last year. My mom has passed away. So the next person in line would be me. And sometimes we give people titles that they did not work for. There are a lot of people that know me, but there are only a few people that I consider to be my friends. And so when you have people that you consider your kids' godparents, when you have people that consider to be, play cousins or best friends, or your favorite auntie or favorite uncle, you have to get in your mind that we all aren't going to be here forever. And with that being said, do we have those necessary relationships in place where if we were to go on to glory and it does become our time, do we have somebody that's going to write something about us that is reflective of who we are as individuals? Or are we going to take a chance and hope that somebody says some great things about us when our time comes? And depending upon who you have in your relationship, that's why I'm very conscientious of who I give the word friendship to. You know, I can't wait till somebody comes out with a new Facebook that doesn't require friend requests, because everybody ain't your friend. They need to have an associate request, an acquaintance request, a colleague request, a childhood friend request, a high school friend request, college friend request, because everybody doesn't have the title of a friendship. Because friends, family, there is a level that you have to have in order for you to genuinely say that somebody is my family, somebody is my friend. And at the end of the day, a lot of us get disappointed when our friends don't come through and our families don't show up like we intend. And if you're tuning in, we're talking about how bad can it get. People usually aren't upset when strangers say things about them. It's usually when somebody they love and care about, or they think cares about them, says something or does something that hurts them. It's like, you my church family, why would you say something to hurt me instead of praying for me? You supposed to be my best friend or my friend. Why would you do something to betray me? You're supposed to be my family. Why would you intentionally do something that would considerably be hurtful? That's why you got to be mindful of who you call your friend, your family, or your acquaintances. Everybody should have a category. You can't throw that word friendship around. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers by the end of this month. And I know that we can do it. I got almost 5,000 friends. Just go click the subscribe button. That's all. So, but we give titles to the wrong people when there are the right people in our lives that we don't even pay attention to. There are people in our lives that genuinely want to have relationships with you, and we shun them because they ain't popping like we want to. And I had a season in my life where I went after the big gustos, you know, the head honchos. But it wasn't the head honchos that really had the power. You know, there were times where I needed to get in places and I couldn't get in contact with the head honcho. But I knew the janitor. I knew the engineer. I knew somebody else that would be deemed a lower level. That's why you got to be careful how you treat people, because you never know who will be the catalyst to your success. You never know who will be the bridge that will take you to the next level in life. You never know who will be the person that needs to pray for you, or you need prayer for. You get what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, when death comes, it can do one or two things. It can make you loopy and crazy, depressed, suicidal, frustrated, or it can push you and say, man, I got to do what grandma told me to do. I got to do what my dad told me to do before he left. You know, when my dad died, all he wanted me to do was finish college. That's it. He just wanted me to finish college. He said, I know you had your son, you had your baby, just finish school. Just finish school. And I was so determined to finish school because that's all my dad ever asked me, just get your education. When my mother passed, all my mom wanted me to do was just be successful. She would tell me all the time, she said, Shaja, you got some champagne dreams with Kool-Aid pockets. And I would tell my mother, my Kool-Aid pockets is going to catch up to my champagne dreams. And when my brother passed, all he wanted me to do was get out there and show him what you got. He would call me his Beyonce. And if you know anything about Beyonce, baby, Beyonce going to give you a show that you will never forget. And so he knew that my impact and my influence was going to ultimately one day shock the world. And that's what you should be living for. You should be living for doing those very things that you initially had the desire to while God still has breath in your body. See, when we come out of this, there are going to be some extremely successful people. And then there are going to be some people that are still going to be stagnant, still going to be stuck, still going to be mad, still going to be frustrated, still going to be broke, still going to be talking about people, still going to be hating. You know why? Because they ain't moving. And see, a person only hates another person that's moving. People only hate other people that's doing something. And so when death comes into play, all hell could possibly break loose, or it could become unison. When my grandmother passed, she had a friend that passed the week before her best friend. Her and Miss Eleanor had been friends 40, 50 years. That's a long time to be somebody's friend. Some of y'all can't even be a person's friend for a month or two. Some of you can't even rebound in relationships and friendships because the arguments and the things that you've said has caused a wedge in between. It's a beautiful thing when you can have relationships that have lasted for decades. I mean, to have a friendship that was 40, 50 years strong. And don't get me wrong, there were times they didn't speak. There were times where my grandma would say, I'm mad at Miss Eleanor. And I'd be like, why are you mad at Miss Eleanor, Grandma? And because this, that, and the third. And let me tell you about this. And let me tell you about that. And you would be like, okay, y'all gonna be right back friends. And just like some of our relationships, we get mad at our kids, we get mad at our aunts, we get mad at our grandmothers, we get mad at people that we're related to, and we get frustrated and flustered. And then, y'all get back tight. There are people that are jealous of those relationships. There are people that envy some of the relationships that other people have because they ultimately desire those relationships. When I was fighting for my life on March 30th, there were some people that probably wanted me to die and was probably hoping that I died. Didn't understand what was happening, was shocked, appalled, and confused. They didn't know what was happening or what was going on. And so when you have those type of situations, you find out who's for you and who's not. When your loved one passes away, you understand a better understanding of who really supports you and who doesn't. While this transition was happening, there were people that were contacting me and calling me to check on me. Then there were people that I didn't anticipate to call me and check on me. And then the people that I anticipated and expected to contact me and call me, they didn't. So then now that made me reevaluate where they fit in my life. Because it wasn't that they didn't know. It wasn't that they didn't see it. It wasn't that they didn't hear it. It was where did they value me in their life. And that's why you got to be careful who you call your friend, who you call your sister and your bro, and who you call your favorite this and your favorite that. And if you're tuning in, I'm your host, Jaja, and you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about how bad can it get? Because some more deaths are coming. It's getting ready to be warmer. Some states are lifting restrictions because of the pressure of the economy. But when you dead, how you going to get wealth? If you're dead with a virus that clearly is killing a surmountable amount of people, especially ones that look like you and me, and you think for 1 second you're going to jeopardize your life to go get your nails and your hair done? I said it before. The funeral home is doing all the hair and nails that they can do, and they're turning away bodies. So not only are you going to risk going out there to die, but now if you die and you dead, you're going to have to wait to even be serviced properly. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because they're overwhelmed. I said in the beginning of this podcast that a whole cremation company shut down for 2 days to catch up on 50 bodies that came in one day. There are funeral homes that are turning away bodies because they don't even have the capacity to hold on to them. They don't even have enough room. So here it is. How bad can it get? Well, I'm going to tell you, it can get really bad if we don't shape up. It ain't about a conspiracy theory. It ain't about, oh, it ain't going to affect me. Because the thing about it is that the situation may not affect you, but it could hurt your mother, your father, your child. Clearly we seeing it's killing babies, it's killing toddlers, it's killing adolescents. And because of our folly and our lack of education, Black people, we will always be behind. We will always be behind of the finish line. When they put out the SBA loans, who didn't reap the benefits from it for real? Yeah, we got some people who got some money, but we had multi-million-dollar companies that were getting these loans and they already had money. But because we're always last, and we're always getting scraps, and we're always used to getting leftovers, we can't see our face for our nose. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. My grandma's friend, Lorraine, of 15 years, had the mitigated audacity to give me and my sister a hard time about our grandmother. She's been our grandmother our whole life, and she only been your friend for 15 years. See, death has a way of taking and making the worst in people, or it makes them better. And see, if you are a control freak and you always want to be in control, you're going to have opposition with people because you want to have it your way. And my grandmother's friend Lorraine is like Burger King. She always want to have it her way. And see, people like that bother me because they'll shoot out God and Jesus and the church and this, that, and the third, but they're evil. They're evil. They're evil people in the church. There's evil people that you work with. We have over 150,000 members of the Ku Klux Klan right here in the state of Michigan. So for you all to be confused and shocked and appalled that these people are protesting and militant on the steps of our Capitol in Lansing, I don't know why you're surprised. The Grand Wizard lives in Howell, Michigan. Every time I went to go see my brother in prison on the highway, it would say, "Keep out, niggers." That's what it would say. Who would have the audacity to create a sign and put it on the highway? Because they know that Black people are going to go visit their loved ones that are in the penitentiary. And for them to say, "Keep out, niggers," is an indication. When President Lyndon B. Johnson dismantled the Ku Klux Klan, the white people, the Black people weren't the only people that migrated to the North. White people migrated to the North as well. And some of these Ku Klux members work with you. They say good morning. Some of these Ku Klux members write your checks. They give you a hard time at work. And you want to know why. What did you do? They're not going to say, "I'm racist and I hate you because of your skin." No racist white person is going to say that. And so because they have allowed racism and injustices to go on for so long, other ethnicities feel that they can do the same thing. Oh, I'm not going to respect the culture. The Chaldeans, I'm not going to respect your culture because guess what? I have these liquor stores. I have these gas stations. I have these grocery stores. I know 10 more of you are going to come right in and buy. So they don't respect us as individuals, but they know that we're consumers. They know that we will buy and we will buy and we will buy. This is one of the reasons why we don't have nothing. Because we would rather put money in another ethnicity's pocket before we'll put it in our own brothers and sisters' pocket. Because it's a scam. It's a conspiracy. Because they have taught us to hate each other and love them. Come on over here. I got the best interests at heart for you. Come on over here. But then we won't pay our tithes and we won't give our offerings because we don't want the pastor or the preacher to get it. Regardless if he gonna get it or not, you ain't saying I ain't going to the grocery store or the gas station or the liquor store and saying I ain't giving them my money because they gonna put it in their pocket. Yeah, they are. They put it in their pocket. They buying up houses. They putting their kids through great educational systems. They're able to pay off their kids' tuitions and debts. But what are you able to do? You sitting up here shucking and jiving, talking about I ain't putting no money into the church. I ain't trying to make the preacher rich. Well, you make the Chaldeans rich every day. You make the Philippines and the Koreans rich every day by buying their weaves, getting their hair done. You make them rich every day. You mean to tell me that you won't invest in your brother or sister that's opening up a business, or a family member that's opening up a business, but then you'll turn around and go spend all this money with the Philippines and the Koreans and the white folks, but you won't go spend a couple dollars with your black brothers and sisters? Oh, they want to start a business. What? You know, when I started my business, I couldn't believe the fact that I'm begging people to support me, knowing that makeup and beauty has been a part of my family for years. Some of these hood rats, some of these family members of mine, some of these people out here have been clients and customers of my mother. She's done their makeup. My mom been in makeup for over 35 years. Worked for some of the top brands, Carol's Daughter, Elizabeth Arden, Cardot, Clinique. And I have people that watch me that can witness that. My mom, she might have been a plus size beauty, but honey, every time you seen her, she was fierce. And when you have good ground and good seeds and good parents, the apples don't fall too far from the tree. But when you have ignorant parents that believe everything is conspiracy theory, or everything is this or everything is that, guess what? Your kids end up being just like that. And so here it is, my mom, my grandmother's friend, giving me and my sisters a hard time about our grandmother. See, death brings out the best in us, or it brings out the worst in us. And then you get to arguing and fighting about who gonna get what, who gonna get this, who gonna get that. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. We're talking about how bad can it get? Because if we're not careful and we're not paying attention to the signs and working together, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And if you don't believe me, it's in the word. We can go to Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. And see if you know anything about birds or geese or mosquitoes or nets, or even Noah. He had to go, when he built that boat, he went and got 2. God operates in multiplication. Listen, there are things that we can do on our own, but there are things that when we come together are so much better. That's why it's hard as we transition and not able to embrace our loved ones like we used to. You know, when somebody died, we go to Auntie and them house. We sit around, we look at pictures, we talk about the good times. Well, now that has been taken away. It's been restricted. So now we got to come up with other ways so that we can still share that energy. Because guess what? Our body is made out of, 90% water? Water comes from what? Energy. So at the end of the day, when you seeing somebody's vibe or their energy is off, it's because your spirit man is telling you and giving you those vibes. I don't have to be sitting next to you to hear it in your voice, to see it in your face, to look at your body language and see that something is off. And if you read Ecclesiastes 4, it talks about, and I'm going to read it to you. It talks about chapter 4, 9 through 12. And it says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. And I'm reading the New Living The New Living Translation. It says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. This is why we got to work together. All of that, who she thinks she is? She got her a podcast. Why we got to listen to her? Who she think? Well, who else going to tell you? Pookie and Ray right now? Clearly they don't know no better, because if they did, y'all would be in a better position. So because you ain't, and you're not, There are leaders that God puts in place that rise up. There are teachers that God gave. There are priests that God gave. There are bishops that God gave. There are preachers. There are people that are in your life that are connected that's going to give you that wisdom. But the only way that you're going to be wise is if you receive it. You got to be able to get that thing in your spirit. It's like a preacher getting up Sunday after Sunday, Wednesday after Wednesday, Friday after Friday, teaching you the word of God. And now is the time to see what you're made of. All of that power and prayer and scripture that you study and quote unquote knew, now it is time for it to be applicable. The Bible says study to show yourself approved. So what you do all that for when now is the time to show what you made of? And for those of you that don't feel you got any power, now is the time to tap into God. Now is the time to tap in. Because see, there are people that will claim they know God. They will quote a scripture. They'll even pray, but they don't have no power. They ain't got no power. And see, the enemy is only going to come after people that got power. He'll only come to kill, steal, and destroy in areas where they're effective. The enemy ain't chasing a crackhead because guess what? He already got him. But it's the moment that crackhead decides, I want to get off crack. I want to live my life better. I want to give my life to God. That's when the enemy will come back and he'll start bringing all your homies back that you used to hang with and party with. Soon as you decide, I want to get my life together. I want to lose weight. I want to start studying. I want to go back to church. The minute that you want to make some changes that no longer feeds the enemy's kingdom, but it causes you to be better, you're going to run into opposition. And so just like death, and if you're tuning in, you're listening to I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about how bad can it get? My son's father would often say, expect the worst and hope for the best. And faith is nothing but hope. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We're seeing some evidence that it can be better because look at me. I'm evident that God is a healer. I'm one of the exceptions to the rule because you guys could be mourning my death. But God said not so, not her. So because he said not her, I'm going to let y'all see that you can go through this. The thing about it is a lot of us don't want to go through. We don't want to have to deal with the hard stuff. And we run from the hard stuff. And we would rather somebody else deal with the hard stuff. That's why it's hard for us to teach our kids at home because we would rather the teacher do it. But we're our first kid's teacher. And so my grandmother's friend gave us a hard time. Well, your grandma wanted me to do this and your grandmother wanted me to do that. And I said, Miss Lorraine, that's your friend. That's our grandmother. You have a takeover and a control spirit, and you need to go sit down. The first thing that you should have done as her friend was saying, let me reach out to her grandkids and see what we can do together. What did I just talk about in Ecclesiastes? You want to control everything and do it all on your own. Take over, do a funeral, do a memorial audit. First of all, we can't even do nothing for real. So here it is, you trying to take over something that has no provision for us to do it. The only thing that we can do right now is get my grandmother, get her prepared properly, and plan for a memorial. That's it. But because you want to be grand and have a takeover spirit, like so many people who have takeover spirits when a loved one dies, they got to be in control. They causing conflict and confusion. And what did I say earlier? Death causes two things. It causes you to be better or worse. And you end up seeing people for who they are. I had another aunt on my grandmother's side. My grandmother, she had stage 4 breast cancer. God is just keeping her. He's keeping her. She was in Providence. She's been in a rehab. God took her out of that. She's at home right now because I prayed to God. I said, God, I can't make you do nothing. I can't tell you what to do. But all I'm asking is, can you just please strengthen my grandma? Strengthen her enough where she can just be at home and be comfortable. And if she do decide that, listen, my body can't take it no more, and you say, it's time for me to call my daughter home, help me to be at peace with it. Help me to be at peace with my grandmother passing. I already lost one grandma. So if this one decides that she no longer wants to fight, because you're going to have fight and grit in this thing. You're going to have to, faith is a fight walk. It's a fight walk because you're fighting against the things that you see with your human eye. This is why everybody was screaming, 2020 vision. 2020 going to be our year. Oh, yeah, it's our year, all right. It's letting you see everything for what it is. It's letting you see people for who they are. It's letting you see our leadership for what they are. And see, jealousy and envy is a spirit of Jezebel. Control is a spirit of Jezebel. Being a Jezebel ain't just having makeup and red lipstick and you know, a tight dress and a skirt. You know, that's what the outside of things. But the spirit of Jezebel is control. The spirit of Jezebel is jealousy, envy, manipulation, pessimistic, narcissism. That's the spirit of Jezebel. And see, sometimes people don't want to be labeled for what it is. That's why I said earlier, sometimes y'all be giving people the friendship title and they ain't even your friend. There are some people in your life that are not your friends. And I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that devastatingly the hard way. We want to hang on to people so badly when God is saying, let them go. Let them go. And sometimes, because we don't let them go, God will allow a situation to happen where you have no choice but to let them go. He'll create a situation where you'll have to let them go. Jesus was on the cross and he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. There are some people that are so ignorant, so unknowledgeable to what's happening that they don't even realize that their lack of knowledge is causing other issues. Their lack of wisdom is causing other people to hurt. Because they're so caught up in la la land and feel like they're untouchable that they don't realize that they're hurting somebody else. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, make sure you share this video. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, You Know Jaja, because you do. We're talking about how bad can it get? And the thing about it is that this has happened because we keep trying to play God. The Bible talks about the profounds of God will confuse the wise. The mysteries of God will confuse the wise. You can be smart as a whip. You can be one of the top scientists in the world. But you will never be able to figure out why God does what God does, how God does how he does it, when he does what he does, how he's formulated what he's formulated. There are some things that you are not going to know. And because you have ignorant people that are greedy, that are selfish, that are trying to control and manipulate the people, that are trying to delegate and cause authoritative spirits, that now you're trying to replicate God and you can't do it. You can't. There is one God, eternally existent in three persons. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. And if you ain't one of the three, then you don't know what God is doing. You won't know what God is doing. And that's why we gotta learn to deal with each other accordingly. We gotta love on people accordingly. You gotta deal with that forgiveness accordingly. You really have to understand who God is in your life. Because knowing that you can't play God is also knowing who's good and who's bad. See, a lot of us, we laughed when this man ran for office. We didn't take it serious. And then now we have to deal with the ramifications of the leadership that we have that's running this country. And believe you me, he's the puppet. He ain't running nothing for real. He got other counsel. Every leader has counsel. Every leader has counsel. Every leader that's in position, whether it be celebrities, whether it be pastors, whether it be athletes, whether every person in a leadership capacity reaches for counsel from somewhere. At the end of the day, we all move because of what people have told us. We all operate in a certain way because of the wisdom and the knowledge that we've gained from either watching somebody go through something, them giving us advice about them going through something, or somebody telling us, okay, these are some of the ways that you can do certain things. That's how we move. We move based on our experiences from our own and from other people. And so he's seeking wisdom and getting wisdom from somebody. And see, at the end of the day, you're only as good as your counsel. You're only as good as your covering. You're only as good as the people that's importing in you. That's why that saying, birds of a feather flock together. If you got 5 crackheads, you'll be the 6th. If you're dealing with 5 broke people, you'll be the 6th broke person. Because at the end of the day, we all need each other. But you got to be mindful of who you yoke up with. Because everybody's not going to have your best interest at heart. My grandmother's friend, you don't have our best interest at heart, because if you did, the conversation would have led with, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your grandmother passing. You know what her first question was? Where's your grandmother's purse? That's what she was more concerned with. My grandmother's purse. Didn't ask where my aunt was, who's in an urn. Didn't ask, are we okay? Her first thing was, where's her purse? What kind of friend are you? When the first thing that you're concerned about is materialistic things? It's just like somebody, grandma died, and the auntie want to know, well, who gonna get her fur coats? That's the first thing that you concerned about? Who gonna get grandma furniture? Who gonna get auntie coats? Who gonna get such and such? And the crazy thing about it, we often don't have anything of substance to really pass on to our families. Clothes, bedroom set. Do we have policies for life insurance? Do we have things set up? Because a wise man creates wealth and builds wealth for his children's children, which means if you are doing what you're supposed to do, what God gave you to do right now in this moment, because of what you're doing, God will breathe on that, multiply it, because God is a man of multiplication. He operates in plural, more than one. He operates as a singular individual, but he manifests things in plural, meaning he wants 2 people to become one. He wants in order for there to be fruitful and multiply, there has to be some connection there. In order for people to be equally yoked, you got to get together. It says 1 could chase 1,000, but 2 can put 10,000 to a flight. That is literally meaning that when people get together and they work together, we could be a powerful driving force. This is why our ethnicity suffers the most, because we have not learned the power of manifesting together. One of the reasons why a city like Atlanta can be so successful amongst our African American people is because they've learned the magic and the opportunities that come with working together, building together. A snowball is only as powerful when it's impacted together. A snowflake can't do nothing by itself, but you scoop that snow together and you put that snowball together and it's a mighty blow. This is the thing that we have to understand about us building our people. This is why it's so important to invest in one another. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, they allowed that money to go around their communities 26 times before it left that community. Other ethnicities, and I said this last week on the show, they'll invest $10,000 in each business owner, which would accumulate $100,000 for 10 people. And then once that person made that money back, they go and they put it into the next person. That's why you'll see Abdul one month and then turn around and you'll see another Chaldean the next month. because they have learned the power of investing in their own communities. They've learned the power of putting their pride aside and saying, I know if they get on top, if they decide that they're going to work their magic, I know that mine is coming around. But see, that's why you got to be careful who you call friend, who you call business partner. Your spirit of discernment will tell you, oh, that person ain't right. Yeah, you got a great idea, but I don't know. That's why you got to pray on certain things. That's why when you go into business with certain people, you don't get your feelings hurt and your money don't get taken from you, or you feel like you being slighted, because you got to learn to invest in the right people. And we got to learn to stop being shady with one another when it comes to doing business. If you messed up, be honest and say, I messed up. Don't hide, because when you hide, it only makes you look more guilty. Just like when a kid do something they ain't got no business. They go and hide, and then mama say, did you knock that plant down? And you like, yeah. Why you hide? Why you didn't tell me? Because you fearful of what may happen. But instead of being honest, mama, I knocked the plant down. It changes the trajectory of how the issue may be resolved. A lot of our families can't be resolved because people don't want to apologize, because of pride, because of arrogance. Then when it comes to grandma and them dying, now you got family that's feuding and arguing because they want to do this way. And this group want to do this way. But because y'all not working as a unit, it causes chaos. And what does the enemy want to do? Kill, steal, and destroy. Primarily our families. Clearly, the injustices that we have faced, and if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Clearly, the issues that we face are primarily in areas that opposed him in leadership. These are high voting areas where predominantly minorities have more of power, not just economic power, but we're realizing our voting power. What better way to mess with the psychological group of people? That's why right now, if you can go get you an absentee ballot, go get you one. Go get you an absentee ballot. Go send it on over to Janice Winfrey. Go send it on over to Kathy M. Garrett. Go get you an absentee ballot and go vote. Because as God is my witness, they're going to try. What did they say? It's going to be a bigger wave in the fall. When is the election? In the fall. Go get your ballot and go vote now. Go get your ballot and go vote now. Because if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about how bad can it get? And at the end of the day, death does two things. It makes us better or it makes us worse. And I'm imploring everybody under the sound of my voice. That's why it's important for you to share this video. That's why it's important. Just click share. You never know how it will change the trajectory of somebody else, because the blessing came through you. It may have been my words, but the blessing came through you. It's like telling somebody something your mama told you. Your mama didn't bless them per se, but the words and the knowledge and the wisdom that you got from your mama, you was able to teach somebody else something. That's why it's important that we break the generational curses, not identify them, but we create generational blessings. And in order for us to do that, we have to make wise decisions. Go vote now. I'm going to go get my ballot. What time? As soon as I get done with this, I got to go to the funeral home, and then I'm going to go get my ballot so I can go ahead and vote. Boom, I'm done. I already voted. I ain't got to worry about having no mask, standing in no lines, worrying about being 6 feet back. You know why? Because I'm already putting my ballot into place. This is where we got to be ahead of the game. See, because at the end of the day, the enemy is smart. He desires to sift us as wheat, but God is smarter. And so because God is smarter, he'll put people in place so that we can become educated on what it is that we need to do to educate our people, and not just our people, but all people. All people. Especially those people that want to do right. Because there are some ethnicities that genuinely love people, that do right by people. But then there are some whose hearts have hardened because of envy and jealousy. It's just like the seeds falling on rocky ground. When the seeds fell, some went into good soil and they grew. Some went into rocky soil and they didn't go too far. Some went into areas where there were thorns, where people's hearts were hardened. And at the end of the day, that's why you got to be mindful of who you call your friends and who you call your affiliates and associates and acquaintances. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody don't want to see you win. Everybody don't want to see you successful. That's why the ones that do, you yoke up with them. You build the teams. You create solid foundations and you build each other up. Okay? You want to open up a business? Okay, what we need to do? How we need to do it? What you need me to do? This is what I can do. The people that don't want to be a part of it, that's why one of the many blessings that I can say when it comes down to people that God has blessed me with, that genuinely love me, that genuinely support me, my spirit man lets me know it every time. And my spirit man also lets me know a person that's a fan and a person that's a frenemy, a person that's an enemy. Your spirit man will tell you. And see, the thing about it is that you'll know by the fruit that they bear. You'll know by the things that they do, how successful and how genuine and sincere and authentic they are. The same person that you see me on this screen is the same person in person. And anybody that watches me, that knows me, can validate that. What you see is who I am. Who I am is who you see. You're not going to get a surprise visit from another person. She is a conglomerate of all of who she is. And see, that's why you got to be careful, because when people betray you, it turns into a whole nother side of them. You be like, who are you? This a whole nother side of you. You ain't never said that? You look at somebody like, oh, I don't even know who this person is. You are not the person I thought you were. Because now they have been giving you falsified identity. That's what a narcissist does. That's what a pessimistic person does. They're going to give you just a good enough of a person just to reel you in and then want to chop you up. That's why you got to be careful of who you call your colleagues, who you call your business friends, who you call your friends. When death comes knocking, you want to be able to have a solid support system. When my mom passed, I had a friend that I considered to be my best friend. She didn't call me and say, I'm sorry about your loss. And I never forget, this is the same friend that spent the night at my house. Same friend that called my mama. I don't care if we had an issue. There is a respect level there. And when you know that there's a person that values you, you'll know when your back is up against the wall. You'll know as you're building these bricks in your life, whether it be business, being a new parent, starting a family, getting married. You'll know where you mean to them. Because why would they all of a sudden be acting weird and acting funny and doing all these odd things? You pay attention to those things. And like I said, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about how bad can it get? How bad can it get? And it'll only get worse if we don't work together. It'll only get worse if we stop listening to everything else, the news and everything else. If you know some people that are giving you positive vibes only, giving you instructions, education, they are enlightening you to be a better you, those are the people that you need to be yoking up with. Not the ones that's on Facebook and Instagram talking about, oh, I can't wait to get my nails done. Oh, I can't wait to, so first thing I'm going to do when I get out of here. Listen, the first thing, you better hope you get out. You better hope you get out. You better hope you do. They're not doing any concerts this year, so that's canned. So while you trying to get some outfits to go somewhere, only place you're going to be going to is around your neighborhood. Because another wave is coming. And if we're not careful, the numbers that we've seen will triple. And whose numbers are going to be affected the most? Ours. Why is it that we got to wait the last minute or be bombarded talking about it's a conspiracy and all this? You better pay attention to the warning signs. I go out to the store, people still don't got on gloves, no mask. No, it won't save you, but it will prevent a lot of things. There are so many people that are frustrated, angry, depressed. They don't want to live. And so because they don't want to live, they'll make you not want to live. They'll push their insecurities and their fears off on you. That's why I'm so grateful to my mom. Until her death, she was positive. She didn't, woe is me. I feel bad and sorry for myself. She wasn't no hypochondriac. Every time you turn around, she had an ailment. My mom had faith all the way to the end, and that frustrated me. I had an issue with God because here it is, I'm praying to God for my mother's healing, and here she is dying. So I was really mad at God. I was angry at God. And the thing about it is that God wants you to question him. He wants you to ask questions. He wants to talk to you and have a relationship with you, regardless if you want him to or not. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I don't care if you believe in the universe, whatever you believe in. At the end of the day, God wants a relationship with you. And in order for that to happen, it got to be a two-way streak. That's just like when you have relationships with your spouse or your family or your children or your friends. In order for that relationship to be strong, in order for that relationship to be solid, there has to be communication. And see, one of the biggest issues that our people have is communication. We got a problem with apologizing because of ego and because of pride. We have a problem with saying, I'm wrong, I messed up, I shouldn't have did that. Because we don't want to look like we don't have nothing together. One of the best things that could have ever happened to me was the day that I did go live, because God told me to. He said, you go live for everything else. No, you're going to go live for this. And because I did that, I was able to free so many other people of their insecurities with losing their hair, dealing with alopecia, their children having cancer or hair loss. Then on top of that, people that weren't taking this seriously, now like, oh, we taking it serious now. Now we going to take it serious. And see, the thing about it is that everybody's always complaining about how our world is so messed up. Our world is only messed up because of some of the things God told you to do that you didn't do. God told you to start a nonprofit to help certain people, but you didn't do it. You've been sitting on ideas, ain't moved on none of them. What you waiting for? Well, I'm trying to get my life together, and I want to get this together, and I'm just trying to get more money. Let me tell you something. When I started this podcast with a wing and a prayer. And I know that it's going to take me further because it's opened so many doors as it is. But at the end of the day, people are often waiting for what? What you waiting on? Clearly, you ain't got control of your life, so you might as well get started because you can die tomorrow. So why not start something? I mean, Martin Luther King knew he was going to die, but he had put people in place to live out what he planned, to live out the strategy, to live out what we need to do. We ain't always going to be here, but at least you have something in place. This is why you get families that they can move from. The grandma can die, but they still got the store. The uncle can die, but they still got the business. It can go from generation to generation. But what do we have to pass on to our kids? Some Jordans? I mean, yeah, they can put them on eBay and get a couple bands for them, but after a while, the cost of living, they're going to splurge that in a few minutes. So at the end of the day, when my mom passed, I said, this is hard for me. But it allowed me to throw her a birthday party before she passed. And I remember contacting her friends. Some people were too busy to come to the birthday party. Family members were preoccupied to come to the birthday party. And then she turned around and died. I mean, I had a young man that I considered to be family call me and try to check me about why I didn't put his mama in my mama's obituary. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have the mitigated audacity to even attempt to try to check me about why I didn't put your mama in my mama's obituary, but your mama didn't even come to see my mama until she was about to die, and this was her friend? This was her friend? This is why it's so important to give people the appropriate titles that they deserve. Everybody don't deserve to be called your friend. Everybody ain't your family just because y'all have the same name or the same blood running through y'all. I have friends that are like family to me. And I know that they have my back before a real family member would, because I've seen what my family can do. Right now, me and my 2 sisters are taking care of my grandma's things. But I got 5 sisters. My other sisters ain't said, well, what you need me to do? Nothing. One sister, she ain't said, well, what you need me to do? You know where she at? Laying up with her man. So there are people in families that have leadership. And there are people that are in those families. There are people that are in those families that can lead those families. But because I don't want to listen to her, and who do she think she is, and why we got to listen to her? Well, do you have a better idea? Do you come with something else better? One of the reasons why my mom's death and my brother's death was so successful, and I say successful because we didn't have no obstructions. We didn't have fighting amongst each other. We didn't have any chaos. It was a smooth sailing because as the leader and the matriarch of my family, I welcomed my siblings' opinions. Well, what y'all want to do? What color y'all want mama to wear? Okay, can we go together to pick her stuff out? Because if I pick it out and y'all tripping because y'all don't like it, you can't say nothing about it because you ain't here to help. See, people always got an opinion about something, but they ain't contributed to nothing. Did you help? But you got something negative to say. And when he was on my phone, I looked at my phone and tears just ran down my eyes. Because here it is, we grew up together. And your mother was not there for my mother while she was ill. And you have the mitigated audacity to try to check me about my mama obituary? That lets you know the small-minded, unintelligent idiots that we have that we're connected to. The fact that you had even had the gall to formulate the words in your mind and allow your lungs to breathe out the words and say them to me. As if you are not even considerate that my mama, we just buried my mama a couple days ago. How dare you? And I thought to myself, you don't ever have to worry about me saying anything to you, your mama, or anybody that's connected to you ever again. Ever again. And I thought to myself, this is the same mother, this is the same quote-unquote friend that was jealous of her, copied her hairdos, copied her swag and her style. Yeah, they were friends. But at what extent? Because at the end of the day, when your back is up against the wall, you should be able to count on your real friends. You should be able to count on your real family. This is why Chaldeans can live 10 people in a house and not have, they got issues, they have problems, I'm sure they get into it, they get on each other's nerves, but they understand the power of togetherness. Just like I read in Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 through 12. We can't keep doing things in private and expecting the success to happen in public. I needed the prayers of the righteous that availeth much when I was going through what I was going through. I'm not about to go through this in secret. And so many of us go through things in secret because of pride. We don't want nobody to look like we ain't got it together. I remember being a single mother raising my baby, young. I didn't know some of the things. I mean, I took care of my brothers and sisters, but when it's your baby, it's a whole nother ball game. So I would reach out. Hey, my baby doing this. Is this normal? I'm tired. Can somebody please come watch my baby for me? My baby is crying. I don't know why he's crying. Now I'm crying. I need help. And because of that, I was able to regain my thought process. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, sometimes we need that mental break. And so many of us are dealing with things in silence and in private because we don't want to be shamed. We got to stop shaming each other and making each other feel bad about needing help, needing support, needing family. How dare you? How dare you? Because we'll easily go support a celebrity that we don't know. But here it is, Zsa Zsa Hubbard, all she asked you to do was subscribe to her YouTube channel. Why is that so hard? Because it's me? But because it's me? And if my goal is to surpass Oprah, Wendy Williams, Ellen, that's my goal, we should be willing to do whatever it takes to get me to that point. Because if I get successful, guess who I can bring on my show? You. Guess who products that I can promote on my show? Yours. Guess whose stories I can feature as a host? Yours. But because it's her, why would I do that? Why would I help her? Really? Our successes are connected to one another. Any project that you've ever done, if you had to do it by yourself, 9 times out of 10, it was extremely hard. It was frustrating. But it was a little easier, and the responsibilities and the duties that were delegated to other people made the project a little easier. It made things, it didn't mean that it wasn't hard. It didn't mean that you didn't butt heads, but it did mean that I don't have all the weight on me. Now we can share the delegation and authority. Now we can, and it makes the success of the project so much more fulfilling when you know you did it as a team. It's like a man and a woman making a baby and knowing that they're proud to be the parents of that child because they've learned to work together to make sure that that child is successful. I've reached out to my son's father on a plenty of occasions. He ain't gonna tell you. He ain't gonna tell you that Zsa Zsa Hubbard has reached out to me so that we can make sure that we work together for our son, Tayshawn. That's only like right for him to say it, but no, he wants to keep people thinking that I'm the bad guy. And I take it. That's fine. But as you can see, my son, he's a bearer of my fruit. When you see him, he's mannerable, respectful. He's taking care of his business. His physique is outstanding. It's because he has a mother that is on his head and she's reached out to people. The enemy wanted to shut my mouth when I put up that post. Hey, I'm a single mother. I need help. My son is going through something right now. And as a female and as a woman, I can't do it. He needs some positive reinforcements. I need a man to come and talk to him. But wouldn't it be a magical thing if his father could have that wisdom to give and import into him? It would only make sense. Mothers teach their children. Fathers import wisdom. So at the end of the day, a lot of issues that we deal with, especially that comes with death. And if you're tuning in, we're talking about how bad can it get? It can get really bad if we don't start working together. Everything ain't always got to be about money because God will bless you with long health. Look at Steve Jobs. He died a billionaire. And the only thing that he wanted to do was get better. Here it is, we accumulate all these wealths and riches, but if we don't have our health, we have nothing. Our health is our biggest wealth. But if you out here still chasing a dollar and the governor is saying, sit your hind parts down, but you still trying to get out here in these streets, you gonna run into a brick wall every time, and then it ends up devastating your family because now here is a tragic death that they didn't anticipate. Here's a funeral that they didn't have money to pay for. Here's somebody young that they didn't anticipate dying. Here's somebody old that was healthy that they didn't anticipate dying. Here it is, my spouse, I didn't anticipate dying. Here it is, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, I didn't anticipate them dying. And now here it is, who gonna deal with the funeral arrangements? Who gonna be the one to step up and do the obituary? You talking about how bad can it get? If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and I'm your host, Zsa Zsa. If you're looking for a speaker, you're looking for a panelist. Because not only am I a survivor of this thing, but I'm a survivor of suicide, a survivor of depression, a survivor of insecurities, a survivor of being a single mother, raising a young man. Oh, I've survived this thing. Not only have I survived burying my mother, burying my father, dealing with suicide, mental illness, wellness, dealing with the hospital systems that they have on the news right now that killed my mother. People didn't want to even pick up the lawsuit because of the money that's attached to this stuff. We are like sheep, slaughtered. And at the end of the day, when my brother was killed in the penitentiary, in the prison. So I have a variations of loss. Tragic, unexpected. Dealing with the young. And each death affected me differently. When my dad died, I was sad, I was heartbroken. But it affected me differently than it did my brothers. It made me go run to the books. It made my brothers go run to the streets. So when my mom died, it made me go into a full-blown depression to the point where I woke up drinking. I went to bed drinking. I was looking for any kind of pill that would make me numb and sleepy. I was doing anything that will make me feel better. And most of us, this is why communication is so important. This is why expressing to your friends, your true friends, they gonna hear you out, especially my men. My father, when he committed suicide, he didn't have no friends to talk to about how he was really feeling. It's a difference between talking to your homeboys about basketball, talking to your homeboys about work and money. But when are we going to get to the point where we can talk to our homeboys and our homegirls about how we really feeling? When I talk to people and they call me, they inbox me, thank you for your show today. I was feeling depressed. People have to understand that if you don't get that stuff out of you, it will eat you away. My grandmother, when she died, not only did she die from a heart attack, which is a sign and a symptom of COVID-19, but she died from a broken heart because her best friend had just died the week before. And here it is, her other friend causing havoc and chaos. And instead of us coming together and saying, Jaja, what do y'all need? How can I be of an assistance? What can we do to honor my friend, your grandmother? When that young man called me trying to check me about why his mama wasn't in my mama's obituary, he didn't come saying, what do I need to do for my godson, who I made you the godfather over, who you have never called to contact, check on, provide any type of wisdom or support for? I made a bad decision. That's why you got to be mindful of who you call your friend, your family, who you make your parents, your kids' godparents. Because if something were to happen to you, that is the job of the godparent. That is a job. It's not just a title. That is a job. Because if you become incapacitated, anything can happen. It may not be COVID-19. It could be a car accident tomorrow. But what you got to understand and realize is the people that you give titles to, are they worth it? Are they worth it? I married a man that wasn't my husband. He got a title that he didn't earn. But because as a woman, we want to be married. I wanted to do right by God in the sight of God. But he wasn't the guy for me. And because I knew this and I ignored those signs, all it did was make me hurt. All it did was cause more chaos. Because when you're not happy, it's going to show. You can pretend for so long, but it's going to show. And it weighs you down. And who got time to be weighed down by things that you're not communicating? Those deaths affected me differently. My brother passing, it was a shock. It didn't cause me depression. It was a shock, and it made me angry. It made me infuriated. It made me enraged. It made me feel helpless and hopeless that here it is, my brother was killed and there was nothing I could do about it. At least when my mom passed, I was at the hospital. I could talk to the doctors. I could talk to the social worker. I could make sure that she was covered, that she had prayer, that she had music to listen to. But it made me feel hopeless because here it is, my brother is in prison and I can't do nothing. The only thing that I could do was make sure that I asked my friend that's a funeral home owner and director, check my brother's neck. Because they're saying he hung himself, but there's no any indication or indentments on his neck that shows a strangulation. There's no indentment anywhere around his neck that says he hung himself. When a person hangs themselves, you're going to see indentments in their neck. There were none. And then for me to find out from other prisoners, and see, this is how God operates. This is why you don't know who. That's why you got to be careful how you treat people. Because you don't know who your blessing, what information is tied to certain people. That's why I treat everybody with kindness. They may not like me. They may not understand my vibe, my zhuzh, my personality. It may be too much for some people, but that means I ain't for you. But it was a blessing in knowing that here it is, another prisoner squeals and tells the real tea. Not only did he tell me the real tea, but here it is, I go to my friend's baby shower. My friend, baby shower, who is Caucasian. She is white as all get outdoors. I love her with all my heart and soul. She lives out in white man's land. I had to go drive all the way out of so far where they had a llama farm. That's how far we drove to her baby shower. And her niece, fiance, was a correction officer. How ironic is it that I'm at a baby shower for my Caucasian friend all the way in no man's land, and her niece's fiance is a correction officer for the facility where my brother was? How coincidental and ironic is that? And I didn't tell him who my brother was, because you never know. A listening ear is also a running mouth. So you got to be mindful of some of the information that you share with people. I just asked him, what are the odds of a prisoner committing suicide or certain things? And he was like, not likely, especially if they've already been in there for a certain amount of time. Usually they get killed and they'll say it was suicide. So that way they don't have to get investigated. It's easy to say, and this is the thing. If my brother wanted to kill himself, my brother would have killed himself the first few years of him being incarcerated. I talked to my brother on a Monday, and he was telling me, Beyonce, I need you to get out there, girl. Show them what you're working with. Start me an Instagram. Make me a Facebook page. Put some money on my books. You know how they talk. I'm straight in here. Sis, I'm good. And Friday, you dead? And you know that our father committed suicide? If my brother wanted to do that, he would have did it. So here it is. Here's the pieces putting together. Sometimes we don't know certain things. And now the spotlight, look at the spotlight on the judicial system, the prison system, prison reform. Look at how all of these things are unveiling our eyes. The militias at Lansing, the Ku Klux Klan members, racism, economic disparities within the African American community. It's always been like this, but now the veil is being lifted for people to pay attention. So we have to learn in these times where death is at everybody's door. And if we are looking for things to get better, we're going to have to start making more positive memories than negative ones. We're going to have to start reaching out and building each other up. We're going to have to start being intentional about the relationships that we want in our lives, and the ones that do not align with what you believe, you need to eliminate them. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. Listen, some of us have separation anxiety. I know that I did, because when I was married, I was used to having a husband. And when I didn't have a husband, I was looking for a husband because I was used to having one. And so we have those separation anxieties. When I had a friend that I considered to be my friend, she was a person I always got on the phone and talked to. But because we were no longer friends, it was separation anxiety. I missed my friend. But again, that wasn't my friend. Because if you're my friend, you're going to protect my heart. Just like I'm going to protect yours. I'm going to protect what you value. Just like I'm going to protect what you value as a friend. And that's why, fellas, we got to make sure that you guys are talking to each other. You depressed? You need to tell your homeboys, man, I'm depressed, dog. Now, the ones that laugh, they're the ones that's probably depressed too. The ones that's, not taking it serious, they're probably dealing with the same thing, but because pride and arrogance won't let them confess it. That's why you got to confess one to another what you going through. That's why my testimony is going to pull people to Christ, pull people to God, pull people out of their sorrow and out of their depression, out of what you're going through. That's why if God gave you a vision and an idea and you sitting on it, you waiting on the green light, you waiting for all the lights to be green, you waiting for you to get your furniture, you waiting to get your website, you waiting for all these little intricate parts. No, start with what you have until you can do more than what you had. Some of us can't see our face for our nose. Because there's going to come a time where you're going to be on the other side of heaven or hell, whichever you decide you part of. So you better make sure that you use the time that God is giving you wisely. There were things that I knew I needed in order for me to be successful and for people to take me serious. But I had to be willing to do the work. Now I ain't got no excuse. What's my excuse? I got time. I have access. God has blessed y'all with a little bit of money. I got a couple more dollars than what you had. Utilize that for what you need to. And if you don't have what you're looking for, then you need to be the creator of the very thing that you need. And if you don't know, you have people like me that you can slide in my DM. Y'all slide in my DM for any other thing. Hey, Ja, I got an idea. This is what I'm thinking about. You can schedule your consultation and we can move on from there. And then boom, if I don't have the answers, I can send them to this person. I can send them to that person. I can send them to this person. So now here it is, a conglomerate of resources and people that you're connected to make you successful. Again, the Bible says 2 people are better than 1, for they can help each other succeed. Whatever your level of success is or chooses to be, the only way that you can be successful is if we support each other. Kylie Jenner is successful in her business because people supported her business, talked about it, marketed it. She didn't have to pay nobody for advertisement. Why do I need to pay somebody when I got all my fans, friends, and viewers promoting what I need? But see, at the end of the day, that's where having the adequate titles are important. And the thing about it is that we got to stop complaining if we're not creating solutions for problems. We can't magnify the problem without also providing a solution. And if people want to know how bad it's going to get, it's going to keep getting even worse because we keep complaining about something that we're not looking to provide a solution for. And at the end of the day, doctors treat, but God heals. Doctors treat, but God heals. And everybody that is dying in those hospitals is because they're being treated. And for those of you who've had nurses or doctors that believe in God, they were praying as they were treating you. They were praying for all of their patients. I know for a fact that there are some sanctified, Holy Ghost-filled nurses. They ain't gonna tell you. There are some God-fearing doctors. They can't tell you and put their religious beliefs on you because of the legal ramifications, but you best believe you me. People that have made it out of those hospitals, they had doctors and nurses that were praying, that they believed. And at the end of the day, if you're at a doctor's office or a hospital, it's only so much that they can do. You got cold ventilators blowing cold air in your lungs when your body is used to warm air coming through your lungs. That's why that blow drying it on the face was important, and it helped. Cool rag to keep down the fever. But no, they're giving you other medication to contain it. That's why the infusion of the ginger, the lemons, the limes, the oranges is so important, because that is God's creation. God created everything to cure us. But we go run to the medicine because we got more faith in the doctor than we do God. God is the creator of the doctor. So with that being said, we got to understand that even in sorrow, even in these changes and these challenges, we can't keep going at it alone. When I worked with people, all our projects were successful because we all did our part. And when everybody's doing their part, not telling another person what they should be doing, you focus on what you're supposed to do, you ain't got to worry about what nobody else is doing. See, I can't worry about what my other family members ain't doing or what they is doing, because Jaja's only focused on what Jaja's doing. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And if you're tuning in, we're talking about how bad can it get. It can get worse if we don't do our part. And if we don't do our part, we cannot complain about the areas in which we need to fulfill. I spoke to a funeral home director, multiple ones this past coming weeks. And when I tell you, I was so distraught, because it was like, here it is. I'm sure these business owners wanted more business, but they never thought in a million years that they would be getting the influx of bodies the way that they are doing. I had a man tell me in one of the #1 cremation companies within the tri-state area. It's here in Michigan. He's the #1 cremation company in the tri-state area. He said, I had to shut down for 2 days to catch up. He said, I'm tired of people dying. You're in the funeral business and you're saying you're tired of people dying. That speaks volumes. So it's not just healthcare workers that we got to be praying for. It's the ones that's handling our loved ones that we got to pray for. The girls over at Swanson, they can't even grieve their father, O'Neal Swanson, because they still got to deal with other people's bodies. 20-hour days, they can't even grieve their own loved one because they got to still deal with the deaths of other people. That's why it's so important that we deal with each other a lot better than how we dealing with one another. We got to do better. And sometimes what you think is your better ain't your better. Kick it up a notch. When you trying to avoid issues at home or in you know what? I'm not going to give it no more of my attention. Yep, you right. And you just set yourself up to depart from those issues and from those people. Because the more that you try to butt heads with them, the harder it's going to be. The more challenging it's going to be. And so you got to be careful. Because at the end of the day, you want to know how bad it's going to get? It's going to get even more worse if we don't do our part. And whatever your part that God called you to do, you might want to start fulfilling it. Because if you don't, you're going to keep running into some of these issues. Listen, it's your girl, Jaja. You're listening to Yeah, I Said It. Before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, today we talked about how bad can it get. If you just tuned in, make sure you go back. Share my video. Subscribe to my YouTube. It's really simple. You just click share and you click subscribe. 2 things. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're looking for a host, if you're looking for a panelist, if you're looking for a speaker for some of your virtual events, you're looking for a virtual host for some of the things that you're trying to do, or if you're in need of support with your business and you say, well, Jaja, these are some of the things that I want to do, some of the things that I want to start doing. Listen, you don't know until you ask. And at the end of the day, they say closed mouths don't get fed. So don't sit up there starving when somebody else you know may potentially have a piece of bread for you. Listen, I'm your host, Jaja Hubbard. And before I take it back, yeah, I said it. And I'll add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Peace.